Hi, I'm Mike Mitchell with Sustainable Tallahassee. Our Rags to Bags team is making face masks to help in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, and we need you to help. We need you to help us make fabric kits to give out to our community sewers. Each kit contains 20 6x9 pieces of cotton fabric and 40 18-inch fabric strips to make ties, all rolled into a convenient package like this one that we hand out at our distribution centers to our community sewers. We need you to help us make more of these kits. If you have old sheets, dress shirts, quilting cotton, or even old FSU t-shirts like me, please visit sustainabletallahassee.org for simple instructions on how you can turn these materials into kits that help our sewers make masks to help our community fight COVID-19. In this video, Pam Doffek from our Rags to Bags team shows us how to make fabric kits to make face masks out of old materials like quilting cottons, sheets, dress shirts, and even old FSU t-shirts like this. Stay tuned.
So, a kit, 20 pieces of fabric, which is 10 masks, 40 18-inch straps. Your kit, or if you're making a kit, put them together, roll it up, take a rubber band, just wind it around. This is a kit that you can give to someone to sew. This is how you will get a kit if you're a sewer. So you don't have a sewing machine and you don't have a rotary cutter, but you want to make kits for face masks. You can do that with a scissors, a magic marker, a straight edge, and your fabric of choice, t-shirts, off-the-bolt cotton fabric, or flannel. You can also use sheets, including the pillowcase, the fitted sheet, and the flat sheet. You would maybe want to take the elastic off the edges of the fitted sheet before you start. You can also use clean cotton clothing like shirts or lightweight pants. So if all you have is a scissors and a magic marker, make yourself a template. Our mask blanks are 6 inches by 9 inches or 6 inches by 9 inches, whichever way you want to look at it. So you cut your template and you lay it down on your fabric, and you can mark it on the right side or the wrong side, whichever you can see better, and you can put several layers together. So I'm using a Sharpie marker here. You could use a pencil, you could use an ink pen, and you're just going to draw around your template. And you can just match the edges and go on and on and on, or side to side to side, and you get a drawn picture. Now you have your pattern marked. You can just cut them apart. If you're not sure of yourself, maybe put a pin in the middle of each layer if you're cutting double layers, and then just cut on the line that you marked. You can cut as many layers as your scissors will cut through. And I would continue around all my traced patterns, and now I have 2 pieces of cotton fabric for a mask. You don't have to have yardage off the bolt to make these pieces. You can just take scraps that you have, as long as they're at least 6 by 9 inches. So I have some fabrics here. I'm just going to kind of line them up with an edge, and then I'll take my template and I mark around. And cut all 3 layers at once of some scraps that might not have been loved for anything else. You can also use T-shirts to make mask blanks. Let me show you how you can maximize a T-shirt. We don't want to use any of the writing part for the mask itself because it's hard to breathe, but you can use that for straps. Let me show you how that works. So I have pre-marked a T-shirt, and this is what I would do in retrospect. The hem is double stitched, so I would just cut the hem off. We can make that into a tie later. And then I take my template and I mark my 6 by 9 inch pieces. I've stopped when I get to the printing part of the T-shirt, but this part of the T-shirt is good to make straps. So most yardsticks or rulers are about 1 inch wide. So I just lay my ruler out and I'll mark 1 inch strips. You'll notice I was able to take advantage of a sleeve because it was wide enough. Do that if you can. You can also use the sleeves for ties if the width of the sleeve folded over is at least 4 inches wide. This one is almost 7, so I could mark 4 straps on the sleeve. Notice I have this jiggly line here. This just represents cutting the sleeve away from the body of the T-shirt so that you can maximize the fabric. Let me show you how I cut. So I just cut my squares from my main body, and I would continue to cut those out. I've got this piece here. I could mark and cut into strips, and then I just cut my strips. So you would mark and cut your T-shirt this way. So to make a strap, cut on your lines. And then if your T-shirt does not have a seam, just cut it anywhere so that you end up with one long strip. Now you're going to stretch this strip, and notice how the edges curl under, and there's no need to finish it. So you stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, and then just for good measure, stretch it one more time to get maximum stretch out of it so it makes a good tie. So let me show you how much more tie we get by stretching. That's how wide my T-shirt was to begin with, and this is how much extra strap I get by pulling it tight. All right, if you have some old sheets laying around the house, fitted sheets, flat sheets, extra pillowcases, you can also make mask bodies out of them. This is a length of muslin that's going to substitute for a sheet, but after you take out the elastic, you would just pick an edge on your sheet, and we're going to clip and rip. A lot of people find this scary, but I love it. So pick an edge of your sheet, clip it, and rip it. Now, if you get to the end or somewhere along the line and there's no sheet left, you start at the top and you clip it a little more and you just rip. So now you have all of these lengths of sheet, because once you start that first cut, you take your template and you decide whether you want to cut them 9 inches wide or 6 inches wide. So you would just mark or clip about 1 inch and rip your strips. And once you've ripped all your strips, you come back and you can then cut them down to size, either by clipping and ripping or marking and cutting. I prefer the clip and rip because what I'll do is just mark, clip, and go down my whole length of ripped fabric and then just rip them as I go. I now have 6 by 9 inch pieces. Don't worry about the strings. They're going to be in the seams. Do not trim the strings. Just go for it. All right, you've made your straps or you've cut them from t-shirt material. You need to cut them down into 18-inch long straps. So I just measure 18 inches. You can use your ruler, you can use your tape measure. All right, that's too short. We put that aside. 18, that's too short. We put it aside. So you'll cut 40 ties because the package is for 10 masks and we need 4 ties on each mask.